we have to talk about a thing that isn't happening, according to the libs, but actually is totally 100% happening. The Daily Wire had an investigative journalist, I believe his name is Spencer Lindquist, talking about mortgage companies giving mortgage loans to illegal immigrants. But of course, that's not happening, said the libs, and Trump's executive order saying, hey, the Federal Housing Association can't back loans given to illegal mortgages. Well, it's not happening. It's not happening. Turns out it is. According to this report from the Daily Wire, there is an entire industry built around giving mortgages to illegal immigrants. Part of the tactic that they use that Americans don't have the ability to get around is the fact that, well, you don't have to have an identification. You don't have to have your social security number, things that we would have to do. Instead, you have to only have the individual taxpayer ID number, the ITIN number, and show that to the mortgage company that targets illegal immigrants. And of course, that is what's happening. A company called Prisma, I think I'm pronouncing that right, out of Connecticut, specifically and explicitly targets illegal immigrants, saying, hey, here's how you get through the process. Here's what we need from you. And by the way, don't show any sort of identification that may get you deported, lest we lose the investment on your mortgage. Now, here's the other thing that I think is fascinating about this. While this is entirely unfair to Americans who not only have to compete with each other to get houses, but also now competing with illegal immigrants who shouldn't have mortgages to begin with, it also, and here's a curveball, isn't fair to the illegal immigrants getting the mortgages, or at least that's the way that I see it. President Trump issued an executive order that bars illegal immigrants from getting federally backed loans. And the problem with that is, well, federally backed loans come with some protections. And if you don't have those protections, one, the rates are substantially higher for these loans written to these illegal immigrants. And if the rates are higher, there are no protections, well, the chances of them defaulting on those loans are even higher than the normal default rate, which means that illegal immigrants get kicked out on their butts. Americans don't get the opportunity to compete because the illegal immigrants are also competing in that space. And the only person that wins, the only entity that wins, is the companies targeting illegals for their money by means of mortgages. In other words, nobody benefits from this, and yet it is still happening to a degree that I'm sure many Americans would be uncomfortable with. But of course, the libs are saying that that's not happening at all. Here to comment on that and so much more is Media Research Center's Justine Murray and the TMB Problems host, Tiffany Brandon. Thanks, guys, for joining us. Really appreciate you taking the time.
Thanks for having us.
Justine, we see so often that this is not happening. There are no illegals getting mortgages. All the lib outlets say, well, this is not a problem that needs to get solved. It clearly is, and not only is it a problem, it seems like there's a whole industry built on top of this. Can you kind of speak to the idea that at this point, nobody believes when the lib media says, well, it's not happening, so you don't need to fix the problem?
No matter how obvious it is that they're lying to us, the feasibility, logistics, and just plain logic, it's all a foreign concept to the left. They feel like they're morally superior. So all they have to do is just hide in plain sight. It's like a 3-year-old playing hide and seek. He's hiding in plain sight, expecting you to just look over him and pretend he's not there, and just pretend that the left isn't corrupt. But it's really all part of their plan, the leftist plan, to make this entire country a public toilet. Everyone's supposed to be forced to live next to Casa del MS-13. They want Americans to suffer and be treated like we're second-class citizens in the name of this moral superiority that the left has going on.
Yeah, it's crazy to think that they think that this is actually beneficial. Tiffany, Americans who are trying to apply for a mortgage to buy the same house have to jump through hoop after hoop and all of these stringent rules. At a certain point, does it make sense for Americans to say, hey, I'm an illegal, give me a much easier mortgage to obtain, or do we just, I don't know, try to at some point make it against the rules to target specifically, hey, this is for illegal immigrants, here's how to avoid all the processes. Do we make that illegal somehow? Does Congress get involved?
Well, to your point right there, 46% of Americans have been denied mortgages in the last year. Now,
Wow.
25%, actually more than that, have been denied refinance mortgages to refinance their home. Now, these are Americans who are good, tax-paying citizens, have been born here, work here, and have lives here. Meanwhile, what they're doing to these illegals by they're essentially, marketing to them and trying to get them to come and get these mortgages. This is a loan shark. This is no different than the mob because there
Mm.
are no protections, like you said, and there are no checks and balances. So that's why now they are literally handing out to these people they've given mortgages to, you know, instructions on how to avoid ICE, how to automatically claim like, oh, I'm scared, I'm fearful of my life, not that I just, crossed the border illegally because I want to come here and I have no actual interest in making America great again or being a proper, citizen of this nation. But now they're going to claim fear because the mortgage company told them to do that because they would like to get paid.
Yeah, those a lot of good points there.